The Midwest, home sweet home in good old Indiana, a place of small towns, cozy families gathered together, and fields of corn and rustic woods. But, like any town, there is a dark underbelly that often goes unnoted. We are part of that darkness. We lurk in the shadows to bring you the best in horror, metal, and stories of the grotesque. This is Blood in the Cornfields. All right, welcome in Cellar Dwellers. I'm Mark.
And I'm Ivy.
And we are Blood in the Cornfields. Have a great guest, a somewhat familiar guest.
It's kind of a callback episode.
It is.
But for good reason.
Exactly. So we have none other than the Clown King himself, Mark Conway, here for everybody. So those of you who haven't seen or don't know much about you, give a little rough introduction. Some stuff, just some facts.
Some facts. Yeah, I definitely did come out of the cornfield, dude.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm Mark Conway. I have been involved in creative outlets since I was 10 or 9. I have done everything except traditional television, including some podcasting as well, and also generally just a large fan and a massive supporter of the horror community as a whole. This community has treated me insanely well and vice versa. I loved talking to people in the community. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And to be perfectly honest, the community is one of the most welcoming and interactive communities that I've ever been a part of. The filmmakers talk to the fans have beers with the actors. Mm-hmm. It's so, I don't say like kumbaya, like hippie, but it's kind of like that. Like everybody's cool. And it's funny because you would never think that people that love horrible, disturbing things would be as friendly and nice as they are.
It's just like the metal community, They kind of go hand in hand.
Yep, absolutely.
Which I'm also a fan of as well.
Yes.
So I owe you guys a very super thank you. I was touched when especially you, my dear, when you were giving me like really mad props. I'm like, you know what? They said really nice things about me, so I gotta hop on and I gotta chat with them because you're asking Tim a lot of different questions in the podcast, and like I think that I could probably speak a little bit more to what the hell was going on in my head at the time than maybe Tim could. I mean, because Tim was busy with a lot of other things.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's so cool that again, thank you so much for reaching out to us because, man, you blew the film out of the water. Like that, you're the star.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you definitely are the most memorable part. There's a reason why, on all the like promotional material, it's your face.
Yeah.
You're right on my shirt.
Yeah.
You're on my shirt.
There was another actor that they I think in the concept trailer that they did use a lot of, and he did trade it out for me on several different occasions, which is funny because I kind of already look like him, so it was really good typecasting, I guess, on Tim's part. So it ended up working out.
That's very cool. Awesome. Well, I know that Tim is celebrating a little bit, and that's kind of Tim was here not too long ago. I don't know if I told you. No, he was just hanging out at our house.
Oh, no, I did not know.
We're just really good friends.
Okay.
So we were just hanging out, and I mentioned that you had reached out to us, and he was like, I haven't heard from him in years. What is he up to? What is he doing?
Well, considering the reason why I got casted in this was he was friends with now an ex-girlfriend. Yeah, and also too is at the end of the day, it's so different because I've touched different sides of production. And as you can see, like I was very heavily involved as on-set producer and executive producer for some of those things that we're going to talk about a little bit later that you said you had questions about. So when you're an actor, it's kind of like you do your work, you do the prep, you come there, you kill it. You watched the premiere, which I was terrified. It was the first time I ever saw myself on a big screen. It was seriously like it was a dream, a childhood dream, a dream come true. Words are hard.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
It would be definitely difficult.
But but you kind of just, you move on and change lives. And actually, I'm sure one of your next question is, where the hell have I been? I actually no longer live in Chicago. I'm currently in Orlando, Florida.
Whoa, really?
So, I wanted to get out of the cold. And my lovely wife, who ironically is also named Sarah. So I not to be a jerk, but I tell her all the time I upgraded. I got Sarah with an H. It's a good husband thing to do. So nonetheless, but I moved down here a couple different reasons, but weather and slower pace of life. Chicago had run out of me, and also too is I'm like fifth generation or fourth generation Chicago Italian. Like my entire family lived and died in Chicago, and I'm like I'm ready to go plant my flag elsewhere.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, of course, it's awesome that you're back, and it's cool that you kind of were in the Midwest for a little bit. Because of course we'll get into that. We'll have more Midwesterny questions.
Sure.
What do you do as of right now outside of acting and performing?
So funny enough, so as you've known, and we'll talk about a little bit later, I ran a production company and a podcast for quite some time, and then I moved down, and we kind of split up a little bit. My best friend, who's still my best friend, is still up in Chicago, and actually is very much trying to move down here. As soon as that happens, I'll actually start to pick things up. As you can see, there's a set in here.
It looks great.
That could be used. It just hasn't gotten used. And actually, my wife and I own a photo booth business for weddings and corporate events. Like right before, I was literally watching Klowns today while I was working, and I was uploading photos from last weekend for a person. So, photog booth. We service Miami and Orlando. So,
nice.
So is it? I got a question. So is it like the photo booth where you get the strip of pictures?
Yes, sir.
So I have a project that I've been working on. So I with my daughter, every time we go someplace and there's one of those, we get a strip.
Yeah.
And I'm getting enough to fill a gigantic picture frame of all just those strips.
Oh
man,
like
a massive picture. And some of them have family members like my fiance or like that was the first time saying that. I got engaged last week.
Hey, congratulations.
But and then like, my brother is in some, and then his wife. So it's my daughter and like all of these different things and stuff. So that's really cool. Those are something that's very special to me that I've never talked about on the podcast. I probably have about 7 or 8 more strips to go in order to fill them out. But that's something I've been working on.
And funny enough, we're working on a collage too ourselves of ones that, because before we do the job, a lot of times if we are the ones doing the job, we have to do like a test print, to make sure it's working. So we're collecting the test prints for me and my wife and everything else. We're putting them off to the side to have a collage as well. So
cool.
It's been a fun ride thus far. We bought it about 2-3 years ago, and it's been going really well. And I've stepped back from acting and doing more art things since I moved down here. But that doesn't mean that that's not going to change. And who knows, this may put me in a different path if I remember how much fun this is.
So speaking of acting, how did you get into acting?
I'll try to keep it concise.
Sure.
You're good.
So the funny thing is that when I was, there's 2 things that happened. When I was actually watching Jurassic Park when I was really young, and I'm 35, so I was probably watching Lost World because that was probably the age bracket we were in, and I was being an imaginative kid at the time and saying, I want to, I'm pretending that I'm in Jurassic Park, and then but I was smart enough as a child to know, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to actually be in Jurassic Park. I just want to pretend that I'm in Jurassic Park. Because that you could die if you're in Jurassic Park.
Right.
So, as most of Michael Crichton's novels are just fucked up theme parks. So I actually told my dad. My dad and I have a very, very close relationship, which is unusual for most father and sons. But we are very, very tight with each other. And I was telling him what I was doing, but I didn't understand. And he's like, "Well, yes, son, that's called acting." And here's what you have to do. He's a sales guy through and through, so he was taught me that about like you got to go out there, go pound the pavement, and be involved. And the other thing that kind of changed everything, and this is actually something that's really personal to me, and I don't share it with everybody except personal friends, but when I was younger, I was at funny enough, it's connected to dinosaurs too. I was at a neighbor's birthday party, and this place had a bunch of themed rooms where you could have birthday parties.
Cool.
And in the very back of it was a archaeological dig because Jurassic Park made dinosaurs in the late 90s. And I had absolutely no interest in that whatsoever. I did not want to go and dig and everything else. So I told the attendant or whatever, I said, hey, I got to go use the bathroom, which was always my excuse to get the hell out of wherever I want. So I went up to the front, and there was a little stage there. And it was just for little kids, and there were a bunch of chairs that were there. They're all empty. And I hopped up on the stage, and I just walked around. Like I just got the feel and walked around, and then I did a little performance for nobody. And I went, this is where I want to be. This is where I feel the most at home, the most comfortable. And by the way, I still do that to this day. If I'm ever in a play, I show up early and I just walk the stage with nobody there. It's my little moment of peace and zen. And if I'm on a film set, I do the same thing too. Before I get into costume, before I get into makeup and I see anybody, I'm about 20 minutes earlier than everybody else, just so I can walk around and soak it in. And I've been doing it on every set, and I did do it on Klowns. Every time I was there early. In that little town set, I walked around and I just soaked it in. And Tim knows that story because he actually asked me what the hell I was doing there early one time. and I said, this is exactly what I'm doing. I've been doing it since I was 8, and I have no plans to stop doing it.
That is so cool. I love that. I just imagine you because I don't know, you grew up in that era, so like the Chuck E. Cheese stages and where they got the little the little projection and it puts you like a green screen. It puts you with all the characters. I just imagine you doing that. I think that's the cutest thing on this earth.
Oh yeah, and then you got to toughen yourself up by going to Discovery Zone. That's basically like the Hunger Games for '90s kids. Y'all remember Discovery Zone? That's more Midwest.
Hearing about it, but I never think I actually went.
I was too old.
Okay, so you were already too old.
I was a Showbiz Pizza kid, not a Chuck E. Cheese.
Wow. Okay, so you taking it back.
That dates you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. That's okay.
Dude, they had a slide that was famous. Like in the factories, they have rollers, like at Amazon when they had the rollers. They had a slide made out of that. You just went down. You could just jam your fucking fingers in there.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget, if you guys ever see semis going down the street and they have straps, you crank that thing and it has the vinyl strap that goes around it. They have
them every day. Yep.
Exactly. They had a whole tower made of that.
Oh my God.
What it would do is it would have levels would be squares, and then in the corner of the square would be a triangle where you can crawl up. And then it'd be on opposite sides as you went up. I'll never forget this. I was on one time, and I was hanging out with this kid because you make friends very easy at 8.
Yeah.
And we were climbing it, and then he didn't quite get his footing right, and he slipped. And then he disappeared into the ether. I don't know if he died. I have no idea what happened to him. He just went into the ether, and I didn't see him again. I'm like, oh, I guess he's dead. And then I kept going to the top. Yeah. 90s were a wild time.
90s were a different time, that's for sure. That's awesome, though. I love that. So how did you meet Tim? How did you hear about Klowns, and how did you
how did that all get started?
Yeah,
that's a great question. I'm sure that's one of the biggest things you guys wanted to know about. I was dating a girl that was really good friends with him, and funny enough, it's actually the girl that gets the pie acid in her face.
Oh shit! Really?
That was Sarah, and we used to love to get together on Zoom. All the time. I guess it was becoming newer. I can't remember if it was Zoom or Skype. Like it was becoming like a newer thing at the time, like 2013 or whenever this movie came out.
Yeah.
And it was becoming a hip thing. And so we would just hang out. Like we would just be talking and everything else. And we would get into conversations, and you know how that goes. Like, you're playing the 20-minute Italian goodbye and like trying to leave. And the funny thing is I remember Tim being like, guys, I have to get off this call. Like, you see this note card? These are a list of kills for the script that I'm trying to finish. Like, I need to get off. And we said, okay, bye. And then 2 days later, he came back with the script, and he was, talking to us about it and everything else. And Sarah happened to say, and I love it how Tim said it in the interview. Sarah said, "Oh, Mark's just trying to get into acting." I'd been acting for like 15 years, and I had been in films before. But no, it was sweet. But she said, "Hey, my boyfriend Mark acts." And he's like, "Oh, Mark, you act?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, and just out of curiosity, I was like, "Hey, why don't you send me some sides? I'm curious. Why don't you send me some sides?" He said, "Yeah. I'll send you the one about the clown," because we knew the concept of it, like we knew what he was doing. And I remember, I don't think I could do the voice anymore because it's so high pitched. But I started reading the lines, and I got real down here like this, and I'm the leader of the clown of cults. And I remember his look. He went, "Do that again, one more time." And by the way, for all the people that are watching this that are maybe want to think about acting, when the director says that, you've done something right. They're just making sure that you can do it on command. That's all. It's the best thing you can hear from a director. And I did it again, and then I started throwing things out because I'm big into improvising. You guys know Stanislavski acting, right? The method. No. They call it the method.
Help me out, dude. Help me out.
Okay, so
my husband does, but no.
All right. So all right.
School.
Okay,
me.
so now we're gonna get into some fun stuff because this is fun for me. Yeah. Stanislavski was, so the thing you need to understand, before the early 1900s, acting was very, if you saw the acting that they were doing, you would go, wow, that's really cheesy and weird. Like, if somebody was acting, they'd be like, "I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm happy." Like, something fucking weird happened after Shakespeare died. And like that time in between Shakespeare and Stanislavski, it's like German expressionism. Like, I think that was what it was called. It was weird. It was just
over the top.
It very over the top. There was actually a famous actor of that time who was doing a dramatic scene, and he cried during the scene, and he profusely apologized to the audience about how, "I'm so sorry that I expressed real emotion."
Wow.
So that was what was going on during that time. And then Stanislavski, who came around in the early, turn of the century in Russia, developed the method as we know it today, which is you've heard about 1,000 times about method acting and about being and involving the character at all times and da-da-da-da-da. And he had several students that came along and broke off and did their own thing. Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, Stanford Meisner, and Michael Chekhov, who were all students of his, who went and developed their own thing. I was always more of a Meisner. Meisner is acting as reacting. So right now I'm looking at you and saying, okay, you're smiling on what I'm saying. So therefore, what I'm saying is interesting. So therefore, I'm going to keep feeding you whatever that is. And you're obviously doing that through the context of motivation through your character. But basically, his thing is acting as reacting. Lee Strasberg was about sense memory, which most people think is schizophrenic, where if you have a dramatic scene, I want you to think about the worst fucking thing that's ever happened to you in your entire life, and I want you to relive the experience right here on stage in relation to that. Which some people love it and believe in it. Some people think it's psychotic. I'm somewhere in the middle. So, and then there's other different ones, but those are the students of Stanislavski and kind of separated out and did their own version of the method. So that's my TED talk today about the history of modern acting.
That's kind of cool. I mean, dude, I've only done like stage stuff before. And while you were kind of like explaining a lot of that stuff, I actually took an acting class as a little kid. And then they had us monologue. And like one of the monologues was about a dead grandmother. And I literally had lost my grandma like a year ago. And they did that whole thing where it was like, okay, think about the worst moment in your life. Try to replicate that. And I was able, not toot my own horn, but I was able to do it. And like people were like, oh shit. And I would have been like 8 years old at the time.
But that's pretty damn. What do they say in the South Park episode of fucking Guitar Hero? It's pretty goddamn impressive. So no, that is impressive. But I think a lot of people don't like it because you need to have a way for you to control it, and raw emotions are often very difficult to just flip on a switch on cue. And also too is it's like a bronco. Like you need to be able to ride the horse without it bucking you. And that's the problem with Strasberg is that it can get out of control. Like all of a sudden you could totally lose focus on what he is because you're thinking about your grandma in a coffin. And like now it's not about the scene, it's about your character. Now it's about your grandma who is now deceased. So that's the reason why a lot of people are like, I don't want to do that. That's why they have a 10-90 rule. 10% life experiences, 90% all made up.
I like that.
Interesting.
That makes sense, then.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, kind of along those lines, do you have any particular actors that you've drawn inspiration from or that you look up to?
Yeah, quite a few over the years. Typical people, but most of it's yes, I love Brando, and actually Sinatra was a great actor too. A lot of people don't realize that. He played a great heroin addict in Man with Golden Arm, and some other actors. But most of the people that have inspired me have been people that are alongside of me performing. Because those are the most tangible people that are right there. I know that's kind of like a sidestep answer.
Oh, that's neat though.
Yeah, but most people because those people I almost look at that as like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of movies. Like I love movies. I've been thrown out of 3 different film trivia contests because nobody wants to play with me because I'm that good. I host them now. I don't play them anymore.
That's awesome.
But that to me though, it's inspirational. But I like it as being as a fan of film and the craft, not so much as an inspiration. Like I've learned more practical things from people that I've been in the theater with and teachers that have inspired me far more than anybody that's there. And you learn so much when you're on stage. I mean, actually, funny enough, one of the greatest lessons I ever got from film acting was from that Sarah, who was a film editor. And actually, funny enough, my best friend in the world is also a film editor, and him and I have had fun having the conversations. But I'll never forget this. She was editing something that I was in. It was a promotional thing for their school, which was Tribeca, which I think is De Niro's school. Oh, wow. And I remember her in the other room, silent, because she had her headphones in. And then all of a sudden I hear, Mark, get the fuck in here right now. Thought somebody died. So I ran in there, and she's like, she turned her laptop around. She's like, watch this. She slammed her keyboard down. And the funny thing is you guys know, obviously, when you're doing a film, you do the slate, right? The actual clap down. Yeah. And that's to sync up sound. That's what it's for. Yes, you can get information off there, but a lot of people don't even use it. So you sync up sound. And the funny thing is, the moment that slate went away, in 2 seconds, I started acting. And she's like, that's an editor's worst nightmare. You've given me no room to do anything, to fix anything, fucking anything. So don't do that.
Don't do that again.
Don't do that at all. And that's also a piece of advice I've given other actors, especially in film. Theater, you can get away with it to a degree because you do control it. If I do happen to like sports a little bit, I'm knowledgeable enough to do that. And if you watch basketball, the person who has the ball controls the movement of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing, especially in film acting. Just because they say action doesn't mean you have to do anything.
That makes sense.
You go when you're ready to go. You control. Once they've called action, it's your show now. It's not anybody else's show, especially if you have the first line. Obviously, if there's other actors in there, it doesn't always work. But you are the one controlling the flow when it's your turn to speak.
That makes sense, yeah.
That actually is really nice to know. I mean, I write scripts all the time, and it's like, oh, bitch, actually do something with them. That's my problem. And it's like, no, anytime we interview somebody, I'm like, okay, jotting that down as a mental note. That's what I'm going to take down. Okay, good to know. So if you get your dick bitten off, you gotta give it some time.
I'm just a dude waiting to
just chilling. Yeah. So you said you write scripts?
Yes, I enjoy it. I have several of them. They just need to see the light of day at some point.
I would love to read them. I would email me. I actually love reading scripts because what I do is I'm old school. I print them out and then I actually write notes. Even as an actor, like that was something I was obsessed with. I would have a script and then I would be like, note. Why is this here? I don't think it should be here. It should be here. I do it all the time. And actually I've been able to do it so interchangeably as a producer versus an actor. It kind of runs in tandem. So I can be like, this scene's gonna cost $10,000.
Right.
If you change these 5 things, it'll go down to $5,000, and it doesn't change anything.
See, that's perfect. Yeah. Those are the type of people that you want in your corner to like kind of hone you in, because like Tim said in our last interview, which I have taken to heart now, you write for what you have. Like, yes, you can have this awesome idea that sounds amazing, but if you do not have the funds to do it, it's probably not ever going to be a thing. And so you got to kind of hone in on it and figure out exactly what it is that you want to do. What do you have the means to do? And so it's good to have somebody in your corner that can kind of reel you in and be like, hold on, this isn't logistically possible.
Yeah, and I'm having a very extensive sales background and even finance background. I'm very good at doing. I'm like, if I'm going to be more involved in the film community, I actually have a personal bone to pick with Hollywood. I really don't like them. I don't like their system. I think that Hollywood finance is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's not a real business. It's an organized crime unit. I
believe it.
Like this, film businesses should be handled like plumbing businesses. It's the same. It's a business like anything else. You are manufacturing a product, and the product can be re-released 1 million times once the product is done. Now, the value of that product does gradually go down over time, and you have to hit it. It's almost like being in the grocery business.
Oh,
like you have to grow the vegetables and then put them on the thing and hope that they sell before it goes rotten. Yeah. That's it. Like it's not playing to find the ball in the cup. And I really know what things cost. I've had great conversations with makeup artists, and I like we've had everybody on the podcast. And again, I want to talk about Klowns before we get to my stuff. Yeah. But I know what the real thing of it costs, and I've had conversations with Tim about this. Tim and I have even had many disagreements on Klowns, and we still do to this day. Like, there's things that him and I will never see eye to eye on. But I think now that time has passed and both of us have grown older and wiser, I think we both see where it was. And the thing that I need to remember, and something I invite you to remember, is with film, like not theater, not anything else, but with film. Remember, film is made 3 times. Once when you write it, once when you film it, and once when you edit it. Yeah, and a lot of things can happen in between those things. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I love your reaction, bro. You're like this dude's spitting wisdom. I love it.
It's very
Like,
true.
I love it.
Yeah.
You have a very chill demeanor, man. I love that. What about you? So the one thing I did do that was a little unique that maybe you guys didn't hear was, and this is actually a testament to Tim. There were times that him and I battled over certain things and writing and everything else. But the one compliment I do have for him that he was really, really cool about is he actually let me shoot a second unit scene. So when I'm walking into the camp, and I'm greeting people before I turn around in front of everybody, that little intro, that was done by me and the DP. I saw it and I'm like, I think, Tim, I think that this is like needs some things, do you mind? I have an idea about walking into the camp. And I think that and I could ask him, I said, is you just going to have it that I just turn around and I'm just there? He's like, well, yeah, there wasn't really anything. I was like, would you mind if I do this? Like I do the walk in. He's like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. And I think we were wrapping up for the evening. So I literally grabbed Alex, the DP, and I said, hey, here's what I wanted to do. And actually, Alex was so wonderfully gracious because he didn't treat me like, oh, this is just some actor wanting to play director. He actually treated me like a director. It was a short, I think it's like 20 seconds. But I said, hey, this is what I want to shoot. There's no need for lighting, no need for sound. There's a huge bonfire right here. It'll work just fine. Here's my marks. This is what I want to hit. We did like 2 or 3 takes, and then that was it. And he suggested one thing where I stopped here for a moment and then I think that was Alex's idea where I put my hand on somebody's face, and then that was it. And I really have to give him a lot of props for allowing that because he didn't have to. He could have just said, hey, Mark, this is my set. We're moving on. And he did also let me rewrite a lot of the last confrontation scene too, by the way.
Okay.
He was not the happiest about it. I think in retrospect, he's probably fine with it, but in the day, he was not happy with it. But I think he knew how serious me and the sheriff were about it. And I think the movie that we were filming up until that point, the dialogue that was written didn't really fit to the characters that we had built. So we took ownership of it and we went forward. And he could have stuck his heels in and said, no, you were not doing that. But he let it happen. He let us, kind of do our thing. And it ended up being pretty good. So Tim gave us a lot more freedom than I think most of the directors, even when he didn't like it, he still did it. And I have a lot of respect for him for doing that because he didn't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And so about your role as the Clown King, because I don't know, have you played villains before? Because you just seem like you're a natural at it. Like you just love being bad. Tell me about that.
No, I had played a corrupt cop in a web series before then. That did not go far at all. It went, and I had, I got stories about that. Oh my God. The DP, the sound guy actually fell asleep while the boom mic came into frame. I think he was on something, to be perfectly honest.
Oh my God.
I was talking wild. And also too, is they have an old thing about like, never do jobs with children or animals. I added things to the list. Never do things with children, animals, and elevators. Because we were literally trying to time elevators and people would stop the elevator and then it would go down and then a program, it would never line up correctly. And it was one of the most frustrating fucking things I've ever been a part of. And also any future directors that are out there, hire an amazing first AD that is a time Nazi. Somebody that's like, we are 30 seconds, 36 seconds, and 1 millisecond behind. We need to go. And you can choose to not listen to them. I was on that set for a 5-minute shoot for 8 hours. It was one of the most frustrating things I've ever been in. I was 3 seconds away from walking off of it. And it was terrible. But anyway, Tim did not do that. Tim was great. He respected people's times. There's a lot of behind the scenes stories that I will probably never share. Actually, you know what? I don't care because I'm not in I'm not in that world anymore.
All right.
There were some difficulties with the lead actress. She was not an actress. And also too is on one set and one night, she's like, we were supposed to leave at 11 and we didn't leave at 11. When you're on a film set, you leave when the work is done. When we have a shot list and everything else, everybody understood that. She really put a sour energy in the whole place because she was all upset. She basically turned into a 5-year-old and said, I have to stay here longer. And it was ridiculous. And also, too, is
movie. It's not going to shoot itself. I know.
And that, and by the way, that scene, I think Tim does have outtakes. If you guys get a chance, watch the outtakes. Because that scene, remember when I'm on top of her and I say, and happy and you know it?
You're happy and you know it. Clap your hands.
Everything else, we did 15 takes. She couldn't stop laughing. I actually in one of the outtakes, I literally and I'm laughing now, but I was dead serious.
You were angry.
I was angry, and you could see it in it. And I'm like, and she started I was like, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. She started laughing, and I'm like, if you fucked up the take, clap your hands. And the whole crew laughed, but I was dead, as the kids say now. I was dead ass. I was dead ass serious. I was not having it at all. But you know what? That was like 10 plus years ago at this point. Yeah. That's why I feel comfortable talking about it, because I don't even think she's involved in acting anymore. Yeah. But besides that, though, I had an awesome kick-ass time with almost everybody on the crew in the set, except for that. The guy who played the bad twins' boyfriend, I was really tight with. Now a new identity. He is no longer a he any longer.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then now a beautician. Actually, it was always a beautician.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I love that.
And then the two the other nice girl boyfriend and then the deputy are brothers.
Really?
And they were fucking hilarious. There's some outtakes that you go, why didn't you keep this in? Like when they're walking to the camp and they have their guns out, he did like 5 different versions of takes where you would catch the tail end of a conversation. He's like, so, and he's like, it's like, yeah, I went and scratched it off to the point where it wasn't even there anymore, and that's how I knew I had the clap. He would have so many. He did like 5 versions of it. He was hilarious, and we would just die laughing all the fucking time. Like it was a blast on set. And then I was Vinny's ride back. Oh, by the way, I said it before the podcast, but Vinny, who played Punky, I've been friends with him for 15 years. It's one of my dearest friends. I lived with him for 2 years. I love him to death. He stood up at my wedding. He's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. Like there's nobody that's closer. And we remember we were in the middle of Indiana in all clown makeup, walking into a Walgreens and very country thing, like being like, hey, where's the makeup remover? Like that's like aisle 6, don't kill me. He's like ICP isn't in town, so something else is going on here. This is weird. Oh my god, we had a fucking ball. And, oh my god, and then that scene where they're having a protest, and I think there's a shot of me in like an umbrella. By the way, the whole umbrella thing was an unused plot point. I was actually supposed to be albino. My character was supposed to be albino. And
that's interesting.
And that's why I had the makeup. The makeup was actually supposed to be like my skin. And then there were so many inconsistencies with the plot, you just completely abandoned that idea and never mentioned it again. But yeah, that was originally a part of it. Like, I think somebody maybe had mentioned it, like in a line saying like, "Hey, they saw some." I think like, yeah, it's like he had a kid that was like an albino kid, and they see him around. Like that was like a toss-off line. But the crazy part was that was filmed in their downtown, I think Hanman was the downtown area of Hammond, and we were right in front of their courthouse or whatever, and it's a whole town square. There's like restaurants and stuff everywhere, so people were looking and everything else. And this douchebag pulls up in the loudest fucking Harley I've ever heard in my life, and I've been around the block a couple times. He literally pulls up on the sidewalk to a restaurant in there and leaves it on, so we can't film.
Asshole, like what the fuck?
And then, but like didn't even notice us. Like he just like got off his bike, left his bike on, and went into the restaurant for a solid 15-20 minutes.
And the bike going to 15 minutes?
Yeah, I was half tempted to go and just fucking steal it and then like just drive off around the block.
I've been around bikes a lot and I've never heard of or seen that.
That's weird.
Yeah, like just left it on, just left it running. They ridiculous. And like he like I was like, you own the town, bro? Like, and the hilarious part is we all turned to like Tim's like, we're all gonna stare at him and like shout him down, and like this whole crowd that was all the people that were there and the crew were all staring at him. This dude didn't even notice. He literally got on his bike. And everything else, put his sunglasses on and drove the fuck off. Like, didn't even acknowledge or see us. There's a dome set going on right here.
He's too Billy B.A. to even notice.
So, oh my God. And then also too is like, oh my God, all when I'm creeping in the window for one of the scenes, like there's so many of like the hide your kids, hide your wife jokes that were running around. So many. I actually like had my phone up and I played it while they were doing the scene. That was like my first day with anybody. It was great. One last thing, a funny thing on the set that I wanted to bring up. I don't know. I think Tim was successful to cut him out. But there was actually, first of all, there was supposed to be 2 girl clowns. That was supposed to be a threesome.
One girl clown.
Yeah, she was in the Navy. And I think she stayed in the Navy.
Oh, holy shit! The booby clown.
Yeah,
really?
little touch. Yeah, she was in the Navy. I think she's a mechanic in the Navy. And she got married and went off and everything else. Very sweet girl. But there was originally supposed to be 2 girls. Tim couldn't find 2 girls, so he found one. For obvious reasons. And the hilarious part was there was actually a professional bodybuilder that was supposed to be a part of the set too. And Tim filmed like an actual scene with him. And I think in the original theatrical release cut, he was still in it, but he was only in like that first scene. And then like his agent was like, yeah, this isn't a good move for you. And then he just left.
That's sad.
Yeah,
like cool to see a bodybuilder clown.
It was just like big burly, like a big burly guy from Nigeria. He was like 100% like African Nigeria. Like, he was a nice guy, but like it was just funny that like he told me later. He's like, his agent told him this would be a shit move, so he just quit.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Yeah, there you go. So, but anyway, I figured I'd add it. I got in the rabbit hole of funny things that happen on set.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Kind of speaking with set and stuff like that. So with your character, the Clown King, did Tim give you like a lot of direction, or was it more like you were just had your own personal freedom to kind of develop the character, or was it like a combination of both?
I actually wrote some notes because I knew you were going to ask this question. I wanted to make sure that I remembered to do this. So I am, when it comes to acting, I'm a research nerd. And actually, Vinny and I, we've talked about the craft so much. Like him and I are various. And actually, he's a better actor, even though he always just like waves me off and everything else. But he's much better. I'm better at other things. He could never put together like fund and put together a set and be an executive producer. But like he can act circles around me. But we've always talked about the craft. And I'm a research nut. Love research. And actually, I did a lot of research for this, like a lot.
Nice.
The probably more than it was necessary. But but you know what though? But it was so easy to slip in and out of doing this because I did all the research. I researched so many cults. I did one fun trivia fact that I didn't want to forget about behind the scenes.
Yes.
There is in several scenes, I actually took a screenshot and I'll send it to you. On the back door of the house, like where the bed is and everything else, there's a list of 10 clown commandments. I wrote those.
What? That's awesome.
I wrote those. I had the set design because my handwriting shit. But I had a set designer actually write them for me, physically write them. But I actually wrote them as part of the character. I was actually reading them before, and I'm like, oh god, I remember. Like, yeah, okay, I remember that. I thought I originally wrote 13. Actually, I think I did write 13, but 10 it wouldn't fit on the door. Like, so they only had to go to 10. But yeah, I'm a big research nut. So there is a fantastic book called Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen. And something that I had to do in college, she has a whole thing about 7 questions to ask yourself about your character. And frankly, I hated her questions. I couldn't stand it. I had to do it for assignment, but I couldn't stand her questions. I'm like, I fucking hate your questions. But the sentiment, the point though was very powerful to me, which was ask your own questions. Ask as many questions as you can, and then that kind of became a question whore, as I call it. Because the funny thing is that once you start asking like 2 questions, 3 questions, more questions come up. Like it's like, why is he doing this? That's a good thing about script analysis too. When you read the script, and especially for a film, why does this need to be said? Why is the writer saying that this needs to be said? Could this not be said and just be expressed via look? Why does the scene end here but not continue? Why is there an ending to this scene? Why does this character leave? There's my favorite acting exercise, and by the way, I recommend anybody do this because it's a blast just to watch other people do it. It's a fun thing to do on Friday night. It's called, I don't know what the name of it is, but the point of it is that, say, for instance, you folks were in a scene together. Mm-hmm. One of you your motivation is to leave the room, and the other one is to make sure that the other person doesn't leave the room.
Oh, okay.
What do? That's literally the essence of conflict. And like, without doing anything, I know.
Put my shoulder. The duct tape into the other room.
Yeah,
you give me one resistance, and I go, okay.
Yeah.
And then just throw you over my shoulder. It'd be a very quick game. And then
I hear you. But without getting physical and only using language and thought process, how can you keep that person in the room? And then that's basically the essence of drama. And like when you're looking at a scene. So when it came to him, I was asking a bunch of questions, why does he like this? And it came into me doing a lot of research. I read a great book called Survivor, and I always fuck up his last name. It's Chuck Palahniuk's, same guy who wrote Fight Club.
Oh, really?
And it's a book about the last survivor of a suicide cult. And basically, he hijacks a plane, and the whole book is him talking to the air traffic controller about his life.
Oh my god!
Living in a suicide cult. And by the way, he decides not to drink the Kool-Aid, and then he becomes a celebrity. And he goes on talk shows and things like that. I recommend it to anybody because it's a great book. But I read that. I also researched the Westboro Baptist Church, and I'm going to bring up something funny about them in a second.
Nice.
I also did, the Manson family, Heaven's Gate, which Heaven's Gate's really interesting. And Heaven's Gate is where, when I was researching them, this is where this point came up. In Heaven's Gate, the reason why he created this cult of gender neutral, like nobody has a gender, nobody has a sexuality, is because he couldn't accept the fact that he was gay. That's the reason why. is because he wanted to create this where everyone was even. He couldn't accept that he might be different than the regular mainstream society. And the point that got brought up, and it's pretty much consistent throughout all of the cult leaders, is that the reason why they're doing it rarely has anything to do with their actual message about the cult.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, like it rarely has to do with anything about the cult. And like the funny thing is, a lot of people don't realize this. And this is something I learned. Not that I'm speaking, And the funny thing is, by the way, this is the fun thing about acting. Never judge your character. Only strive to understand. The audience's job is to judge your character. Never judge your character. And actually, I recommend that with writing. Never judge your character. Only attempt to understand them. The audience's job is to judge them and form their opinions about them. And the funny thing is about the Westboro Baptist Church, and a lot of people don't realize, the lead guy, the grandfather, he was an attorney, and he was a pivotal leader in the civil rights movement in the South.
Holy shit!
Yes.
Yeah.
And he fought for black folks to have the same rights as everybody else, voting and not having to sit back and everything else. He was like really big. He met and knew Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah. He was very heavily involved in the civil rights movement.
And those are the Nikes, right? The Nikes? The Nikes
no, well, the Westboro Baptist Church was the I Hate
Oh,
Gays.
I'm sorry. I thought I'm with you now.
Heaven's Gate is the Nikes. Heaven's Gate is the Nikes. You're right.
Yeah, because I've done a little bit on them too. They were so interesting on how once his wife died, they had to completely rewrite everything because they weren't supposed to die. They were all supposed to go up together, and then they're like, "Hold up, this shit don't work because the wife died." And then that's when they all just decided they were all going to go up.
Yeah, it's a whole thing with that. Yeah, well, I'm glad. Hey, that's cool that you actually know a little bit about it. But the theory I've always said, Westboro Baptist Church is, excuse my language, God hates fags and everything else. They're crazy fuck. Even the Klan had to get together and be like, you guys are too fucked up. Like the Klan has to show up to protest against you. You know how fucked you are. Like, anyway, the theory I've always talked about that I've always thought about this guy. I may be completely wrong, but through my research, this is the thought process I had, was I think that he was dealing, and again, not excusing actions, but I think that he was dealing with some type of psychotic break from his time in the civil rights movement, where society was telling him that he was wrong. He was wrong to believe what he was believing. Black people are less than people. They don't deserve rights. Whatever the hell was going on in the civil rights movement, all this shit and everything else. And he knew in his heart, and he's like, in his mind, he's like, well, all the society is telling me that I'm wrong, so I must be right. Like, 'cause I know it in my heart. And then when things were starting to shift in the later years, when it came to, gay folks, everyone in society was telling him, well, gay is right, and everything else as it was shifting. So he went, oh, society's telling me this, so I must think the opposite because they're wrong. It's always been my theory about who this, he's dead now, but this, it's always been my theory about who this guy is. And it gave me a better understanding of that. And the same thing with Manson. Manson was fucking nuts, but Manson just wanted attention. Like, he just wanted to be famous. Like, that was always his thing. That's why he ended up trying to kill Gerald Ford. Squeaky Thompson went to go fucking try to kill Gerald Ford because nobody was paying attention to Charlie anymore. So really at the end of the day with this guy is that he developed this persona about clowns because he watched his father, who was his hero, get murdered by the sheriff with not actually knowing that his father was a fucking monster. So in his eyes, his father was his hero and he was a clown. So I'm going to use this as a platform to get revenge for my father and give as homage to my father. I really don't think that he even half the shit that he spits out, he didn't fucking believe. Like so many of the televangelists out there and everything else, they don't fucking believe half the shit that they say. And that's kind of where he was at, he's like, I'm going to use this as a tool. Maybe I believe half of this.
I'm trying to open your doggy.
Oh, I'll do that later. Hi, sweetie. You say hi.
Hi.
We got Spider-Man on this time.
We went from DC to Marvel.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my son.
Yep. Switching it up. So anyway, but yeah, that's essentially the gist of that guy. And then, and as I've told many people in with acting is like athletics. There was a great goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks during their huge run. And he was interviewed. His name escapes me right now, but he was interviewed, and they said, "Hey, how do you make these amazing catches?" He's like, "I don't think about it because I've done it 1,000 times. I've had 1,000 pucks on a daily basis be hit at me, and I know how to grab it. It's instinctual." And that really too comes down to where my work with acting is. You work it, you work the research, you understand the characters, and Anthony Hopkins, who, by the way, actually, if we're talking about celebrities that I kind of looked up with the craft, he's up there, and he's a big script hound, and I'm the filled away about research. And he has a quote. He says, "I read the script so many times, so I know that I know that I know that I know it." That's literally what he says. And that's the same thing with my research. I know that I know that I know that I know it. And so when I show up on set, now I get to have fun. All the work is done. All the work is done. Now it's time to play. Now it's time to try things. Just to bring up a little thing, like when the sheriff was saying, "Hey, don't bash my daughter in with the hammer and everything else," and you see me thinking about it, and then I go, "Nope," and then I do it. That was me. Yeah. I didn't. That wasn't scripted. Like I just did that. It goes back to Tim's freedom and everything else. But I know I couldn't do that unless I did the homework. You got to do the homework. You have to do the homework. You have to do the work. And then when you come to set, then you can, you change your shoes, you get a feel, you put the makeup on, and then you let the rest of it do. You let the camera do the work for you. Then that's it.
Yeah. So this is off script and off everything that we talked about, but I need to know, just because it's a pet peeve of ours.
Sure.
We collectively agree that we hate the Terrifier series. But Art the Clown and the actor that plays Art the Clown, Chef's Kiss.
Yep.
He's great.
Yeah.
We love him. What's your thoughts on him as playing a clown?
How I feel about the Terrifier is how I feel about the Blair Witch Project.
Okay. Express that.
I will be happy to express that. I love what it did for horror, and it blew it up into the mainstream. Some movie, and I love some of the movies that came out after it, and like the whole mixing of internet culture with movies was really, really big. Honestly, if they ever taught a class on business, they should do an entire chapter called The Marketing of Films, and chapter 1 should be fucking the Blair Witch Project, because 100%. The ability, people thought that shit was real. Like, 1,000% thought it was real.
Yeah. Living in remote Indiana, I went and saw it opening week when it still had the, hey, this is real stigma around it. Like, that took about a week to wear off before everyone was like, hey, it's not really real. Yeah. But yeah, I went opening week when it was still kind of like labeled as real.
Yeah, and honestly, the director had to come out and do that after the FBI got involved. I don't know if you guys know that story. Like the FBI actually called them and said, "Hey, we want to get involved with these missing kids." And he went, "Shit, I better go and get them on a talk show and tell them that they're not dead, because the FBI is involved now." And that's how far it got. It got to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And so the same thing about Art and about Terrifier. I love that it's breathing new life into horror outside of the constant remake. I wanted a new horror icon. Like, that's what I'm happy about. There's a new horror icon on the field. It's something new. It's creative. It's changing that direction, and it's pulling away from the bane of my existence of the A24 world, and and then also the constant remakes and reboots and things like that. I fucking love Scream, but I'm about done. Like, I love Scream, but I'm really about done. Like, it's getting to the point of ridiculous, and then all the drama that happened because of that guy.
Wow.
Like, so much. Like I love that it's breathing new life into them. And Terrifier gave the room for movies like Back Rooms is going on right now, which I love. And then also Late Night with the Devil, which is great. Which, by the way, like, I don't know if you guys are Family Guy fans. There's a side.
Listen to enough.
There's a side joke, and I recommend you go and watch it. There's a side joke about Peter getting confused about when the movie starts versus company intros.
Oh my God!
And like literally, Late Night with the Devil had like 5 fucking company intros, and it's literally the same Family Guy joke. It's hysterical, but I fucking loved Late Night with the Devil. Long Legs was coming out too with Nicolas Cage. It breathes new life into the horror world, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you say that, because like that's kind of where I'm at too. Like, you can say whatever you want about, like, the old, the relics of the past that we love. You got Michael Myers in the back, we got Jason, we got a couple others that we really like, but there's a reason that they stand out. And I guess what bugs us so much, and you tell me, Mark, is like Terrifier just bang, boom, zoom, out of nowhere. And it's like, you know what? Reel it back in. He doesn't need to be that big. I like that, it's a new icon, but like, come on, guys. Come on.
I mean, like everything else.
Shit. Like,
I mean, I get it. Although it's very hard for me to have a leg to stand on because there's been some shit movies that I have loved and have brought so much joy to me. And to me, man, nobody's coming out and saying that Terrifier is the peak of cinema excellence. Like, they're just saying I'm just a really big fan of the carnage and how bloody it is, but nobody's coming out and being like, this is an artistic expression of the fantasticness of film. When people you say like that, and I'm like, I've watched Batman and Robin too many times to like talk shit. Yeah, Bad Nipples, and I've watched Society way too many times
Dude, we need to do Society on the show.
I will sit there with you and watch. I have a story for you.
Tell me.
Two things. One, we have done we have a story that we talked about in the podcast many, many times. By the way, if you ever there's a podcast we did with 3 guys from Upper Minnesota that do a horror podcast. It's one of the funniest things. We talked about Society for a solid 20 minutes.
Oh my God, yes.
But the funny thing is an old friend of ours had showed Zach, my buddy Zach and Wes. I'm just gonna use names, but they're all friends. And he had did a Facebook post with a selfie with him with the actual DVD cover, which is all the bodies and everything else, and then them in the background. He's like, my friends have no idea what's coming, and then watch the movie, and they like, oh my God, and the one friend Wes just started to freak the fuck out. He's like the sister's giving him fuck me eyes. They get, does the sister want to fuck him? What the fuck is going on? And then he gets, and by the way, I've dubbed the last scene the holy fuck scene. Yes, the shunting. I call it the holy fuck scene. I have a lot of connections to this movie, actually, by the way. Now, the more I'm thinking about it, the more connections I have. So I walked in on it. I hadn't seen the whole movie. I walked in on it, and that was the first thing I saw.
No.
So I'm like, it's worse than walking in on your parents fucking. Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, the dad
there's so much KY jelly.
Asshole.
Yeah, so. Oh my God, there's so much KY jelly. By the way, I begged. And I also wanted Brian Usner to recut that movie with an 80s soundtrack because I wanted Cruel Summer to be playing when they drive away in the Jeep Cherokee. But two things. One, I interviewed, and I feel awful because I forget his name, but he actually worked under Screaming Mad George on the set.
Way.
It's on our podcast and everything else.
Oh,
and I
my
feel
God.
terrible. I'm going to get his name right now. They had a sign out there that said, abandon all hope, ye who enter this room. The Brian Usna hung that thing. And he's like, I pass out every time I pass the KY jelly at Walgreens. Because there was so much fucking KY jelly. Nick Benson. His name is Nick Benson. Fantastic makeup artist. Worked on Tremors. Worked on the 80s Blob. He operated the movie theater. When it came in the movie theater, he was operating it.
Yes.
Amazing. Like, such the nicest guy. We talked about it. And he was talking about just so much buckets of KY jelly, just buckets, like the Menards fucking I'm getting Midwest on you there, the Menards buckets.
Yes.
Yeah, the Menards buckets. It was he's like, it was fucking insane. And then I was at the Music Box in Chicago, and I got to see a screening over there. And guess who was there? Brian Usna. And I got to meet Brian Usna. He is the nicest human being ever, and
That's
strangely fucking normal. Strangely, he could be a PTA dad.
Oh my God.
He is so shockingly. I walked up and we took a picture with him, and I said, hey, Brian, phenomenal movie. We've talked about it a bunch of times, and we really love it. And he couldn't have been more gracious. He literally, he's like, oh my God, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. In the back of my mind, I'm like, well, first of all, you're just incredibly nice. But I'm like, can you just be a little weird? Just a little weird.
That's how it was interviewing Steven Susko, because the movie that he did versus himself is you're the sweetest man I've ever met in my life, dude.
Nicest guy, couldn't have been nicer. And he's and I remember Nick Benson talking about it. He's like, oh my God, Brian's fucking awesome. I told him that story, and he's like, doesn't surprise me at all. And he's like, Screaming Mad George was insane. And he's like, that balance between this really super normal, nice guy and Screaming Mad George, because he has that name for a reason. He's like, it was they fought a lot too. They fought
I believe it
on the set, because Brian's so normal and such a nice guy. And by the way, this is how close the fandom is. I've been 1 degree of separation away from these people and heard stories and private stories too. With oh, this person, that person. It's been, a wild ride. By the way, I kind of got off on a tangent here. I used to do a podcast called the Midwest Horror Network, and it was called the Living Nightmares Podcast. And our goal was to interview people in the horror community. That's all we did. For a while, we do horror topics, but all we did was interview people in the horror community. And I'm going to be kind of Southern here and everything else, but I was blessed. We got so fucking lucky of people that went on, and they were thanking us. And I'm like, you're doing us a favor. They're like, oh, thank you. Yeah, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for having me out. I'm like, you guys are doing us a favor. Don't thank us.
What the hell are you talking about? Hold up.
And then I was just wanting to go through this list real quick. Dennis Preston, who's done a bunch of effects work. He's a big Midwest guy, phenomenal. I don't know if you guys gone to the cons, the horror cons.
I go all the time.
So you probably have run into James Azera a couple times. He runs the nonprofit props thing where you can do photo with a prop. He also used to have the human centipede experience too.
No way.
Yeah, he used to have too. He used to have the Harry Potter robes, and people would put him kind of heavier set guy with glasses. Another guy
I've been to a bunch of the Days of the Dead. I've done.
He was there.
Stuff too.
He was there. He was 100% there, and I was probably there too. And then also too the guy who runs Black Martin Brand and Amy's Abominations. She sells the really creepy dolls and Barbies.
I might have seen her. You might have gotten some from her.
Yeah, I've gotten something. So I got something from a couple. They would take the Disney princesses and shave their hair and stuff.
That's Amy and Lon.
Yeah, so I bought Otis. Cool. So it's Otis Driftwood in his red outfit with the cross.
That's
And
that's Sam. And then I have a
stand.
I have a 50s. I have a 50s style cooler downstairs as a wedding gift from them. They couldn't attend our wedding. But they were from there. I have a picture in my house somewhere with the four of us. They've been on the podcast twice. They also do the Monster Purge, which is a big monster truck where they shoot paintballs off the side. That's one of their businesses. They're over in St. Charles, Illinois. So maybe about like an hour, 2 hours from you guys. If you get a chance to look it up, recommend it. God, we had them on the podcast, and that was always great. We had a great guy called James Sabata, who wrote a great book called Fat Camp, which is like a mix between sleepaway camp and Friday the 13th and heavyweights.
Yes, that sounds great.
He's a great guy. We had I don't know if you guys are on the social media app Slasher.
No, that's not thing.
It is very much a thing, and we've had the lead developer on the podcast 3 times. We also had a guy named Poltergeist OD, who's a Canadian hip hop artist who only raps about horror.
Yes, I love that.
He was in, and then and then last one of my favorites because I love the clip that we did from it. Was called Bucket of Chum. I don't know if you guys ever heard Bucket of Chum.
I saw that on your podcast. I looked at it. It looked interesting.
He's a podcaster that just talks about shark movies and monster movies. That's all he does.
That's interesting. Cool. Okay.
And he watches like Dick Shark and like Sky Shark and Santa Jaws and like the whole 9 yards. And oh my God. Did you guys ever see 47 Meters Down?
I did a long time ago.
I saw. Yeah, I don't even remember if I saw all of it.
So you know the basic premise, like they're in a shark cage and they get trapped down there and everything else. Yep. And I'm like, and we were talking about it, and I'm very rarely ever have a free night on Halloween. It's very rare because I'm always doing something. My dad's
same with that.
Yeah, I'm a big my dad's the big house on the block, and I'm continuing the tradition down here in Florida where we're the big house that passes out candy to the kids and beer and wine to the adults. Like that's our house. That's the big house. And I happened to be back home early that day. I don't remember why, but I was watching 47 Meters Down, and I was laughing my ass off. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. And the funny thing is I didn't remember why I was laughing so hard until Zach brought it up. He's my partner in crime in the podcast. He's like, every time these girls scream, it sounds like they're having an orgasm.
Really?
And I was pissing my pants laughing so hard. And then we just go and make fun of the whole thing in this little clip. And I'll send it to you later. It's literally like, and then he meant without a drop of a hat, I tell that story. And then he's like, oh, I'm so scared. And he just went right into it. The guy at the Bucket of Chum didn't even stop, just went right into it. And we were going back and forth. And I said, wouldn't it be a fun twist ending if they were a lesbian couple and that's how they get their rocks off?
That's hot.
Fucking getting their bends and having sharks around.
Happy Pride, guys. Happy Pride.
And I'm like, I was like, oh, that'd be wild. And I'm like, oh, salt water.
Literally scared the shit out of me. I felt little hands, but didn't see anything.
Little baby hands, you silly. Yeah. So about the channel in particular, so how long had you been doing that for? I saw the last upload was about 2 years ago. So is that when you stopped, or how that happened?
That's relatively when we stopped and then we probably started about 2019, 2018, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah. The funny thing is that and again, in the respect of trying to not be too long, I had and this maybe, this is actually good because it'll probably warn some people and everything else. Unfortunately, I had a very, very bad experience with a couple of producers. I'm not going to mention their names, but they were essentially they were performing a con on people, and we were getting conned. And I'll explain what that is in a sec. What the con was in a second, but. ultimately we kept on waiting for them to get their shit together. Like we wanted to make some shit. Like we wanted to be involved and everything else. And the interesting thing about that was we finally got together. It was Zach, we've seen in the podcast, a shorter guy, and then Brandon, this guy with glasses, and then our buddy David came in a little bit later. Zach and David both stood up in the wedding. Zach was my best man. And we all said, we're like, what does it take for us to put stuff together? Like, what did they do that we can't do? And the answer was nothing. We had all the crew, we had all the talent. We said, fuck it, let's just go this. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with Mr. Nightmare, the YouTube show. Yeah. So we had noticed that people were animating his stories, which he didn't really like. But to add more insult to injury, we said, okay, what's the next logical step? Put them to film and actually act them out. So that's what we did. And that's where we came up with Living Nightmares, because we're actually living them opposed to Mr. Nightmare.
That's so cool. Uh-huh.
That's where this whole thing came from. And we did the first short, and we financed it ourselves. We did the whole thing. Funny enough, if you guys watched the first one, that's my house. That's my childhood home.
I was wondering.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That house is me. And then, and funny enough, we filmed that in like October-ish, and December. We filmed it in December. And because there's Christmas decorations out there and there's a little bit of snow. And funny enough, literally 2 weeks later, I started talking to my wife. It's very I think it was like mid-December we filmed that. I started talking to her on New Year's Eve over to them. And our first date was like the next week. So it's good memories. And we ended up shooting that. And after it was done, we went through and by the way, it was a really fun process. It's great having an in-house editing guy. And essentially our tradition was we would watch everything. He would do a rough cut, and we would hang out at their apartment because Brandon and him lived together. And we'd watch it on the big screen. And then we would give our notes, and then we'd hand them to Zach. Zach would go in the other room, and he'd edit. And then we would just hang out until he was done with the next cut. And then he'd come out, we'd watch it again, and we'd give our notes. And then we did that like 5 times until it was done. Like that's how we continue to do all of our projects. But the one thing we realized as we were going through that process, we're like, fuck, these take a long time to get done.
Right.
Everyone's going to forget about us. We're going to forget about the channel. Like if we wait until that. So Living Nightmares, the podcast started. The Nightmares podcast. Sorry, I keep calling it Living Nightmares. The Nightmares podcast started because of that. We wanted to fill content. And then we started doing more things, and, we had more different shows. Everybody had a show. Brandon ended up being extremely successful with Tales from the Crypt. And he had his own show, and he actually went off and broke off and did his own thing, his own channel. And I'm very happy for him. He was very successful, did his own thing. Unfortunately, the rest of the content wasn't as watched, and it's disappointing, because I think it was great content, but we couldn't quite find an audience as much as we wanted to. But we did a couple different shows. I did Horror Fact of the Day, which was a blast, and I still miss doing it. I would do a Monday through Friday. I would do. I don't know. Did you? I don't know if you saw that part of the channel.
I don't know if I did or not.
I was gonna say I didn't with the Horror Fact. No.
Yeah. The gimmick was I would wear a different T-shirt every fact. Like that was the whole
that's
thing.
Cool.
It was very jump cutty. It was kind of fun and comedic and everything else. And then we also did a great show called The Screaming Room, where we actually talked about a movie. We did 2 years in a row where we did Halloween episodes of sitcoms, which was a blast.
That's awesome. That sounds fun.
Oh, it was awesome. I picked the Boy Meets World one,
Nice.
the Scream parody. Which I loved, and we talked about it. And we were very lucky. We had to film a lot of stuff, but we ended up doing 4 episodes of Living Nightmares. And I think it was really good for a lot of people's reels, which I was very proud of. I'm proud of the work that we did. The episode that you saw a few minutes ago was one of the most insane episodes.
with the dudes, right? Like they came out at night and they
Yes.
cop. Yeah.
Sarah did the design work for those masks, and Dennis made them. Which I always like giving her a shout out. And we had a lot of problems on that set, and I just stayed true to the. Oh my God, we had problems for days, and I'll have the abbreviated version, which is that cop car that we had was a legitimate cop car that we rented from the same people who rent from Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. Same guy.
Kidding.
And he actually almost reneged on the agreement to sell us one. So we were calling people in New Jersey trying to see if we can get a cop car.
Oh shit.
And then the guy that we agreed to have the set on, by the way, that was filmed on a private property, because I found out in Illinois it's really, really hard because all of the forests are owned by the counties and they don't allow filming. In there. What? So we had to find private property, and the owner, unfortunately, we were going to be there for 2 days. I had porta potties delivered, but they decided to fucking deliver them 3 hours early before I was there to run interference.
Shit.
This guy called me up and screaming at me, saying, "You didn't fucking say that there were any porta potties going to be in here," and we almost lost the set when people were on the way to the set. So we had to pay him a little skidall, and he and he fucked off till the end of time. The skidall's Italian for money. We had to pay him a little money under the table, and then everything was fine. But yeah, we had a lot of problems on that set. But we also produced some of the best work we had. I think that when you watch it, it looks really good. I was curious. What did you think about what was going on? What did you think about it?
I really liked it. Like, honestly, I don't know what I thought I was going to get into, but I was just like, oh, wow, this is actually really well done. Mm-hmm. Like, even though it was a simple story, because it was like, the cop got stopped by these weird people, and it was a real thing. It was based on a true story, too. Yep. Where he got stopped, and just for your knowledge. Sure. Like, the cop came out, he goes, "Hey, I see something," and he pulled over, and then there was like a whole bunch of like weird people coming out in like animal masks, like animal bone masks and shit like that. And they all were wielding different weapons. And like he's drawing his weapon and they're still all coming out, and he's just like, "Oh, fuck this," runs away and he calls for backup and never seen again.
Yeah. Two fun things about that. One, I actually did talk to my uncle, who was a cop for 30 years, and my aunt, who was also a cop for 25 years. And I asked them, is that realistic? And they're like, "Oh, fuck yeah." Like I would definitely run my fucking ass away. Like if that was happening, that's proper procedure to like, if you're outnumbered like that, like you're running, like, there's no reason for you to like, it's like, as long as a citizen is not in danger, which in this case there was not, you get the fuck out of there. Like, that's proper procedure. And the funny thing is, by the way, if you didn't notice, one of the cops that's in the background is Vinny.
Okay, I thought so. I was like, hold up. That dude looks familiar.
And the really tall guy was Dennis, our makeup artist that I talked to you about. And funny enough, Vinny is also one of the cult people, and so is Dennis. Dennis is the lead cult guy. And
nice.
the running joke on the set was like, what happens if they were the people in the cult were actually the local cops? And I'm like, that would be a fucking twist and everything else. Like oh my God, we had a lot of fun on that. My one friend that I was friends with for years, he got put on light duty for the, by the way, legit police car. We had the only thing we didn't have was sirens, but we had the legit lights, legit setup, and actually we put the plexiglass over the back. So that's the only thing we did. But besides that, though, they did the decal, they did everything. Like, that was all legit. And Sarah was also on the set as well, my now wife, and then we gave them the crew a bunch of walkie-talkies to communicate, but in fact it was probably overkill. They didn't need to do that, and so Chris and her would be talking on the walkie-talkies, and I heard some ridiculous shit. and eventually he got situated in the cop car. So when we're shooting, I didn't want the lights on all the time. Like if we were setting up for a new shot, we turned them off so we didn't fuck with any of the neighbors. And I remember we were in the middle of a set and he literally rolled down the window because we knew we were in the middle of a shot. And he's like, hey, Mark. It's like, hey, buddy. It's like, I'm in charge of the wee woos.
The wee woos.
The wee woos. We had a blast on that set. I think once the things got worked out and everything else, it all went down. Oh, and also too is they fucking gave us the damn car without filling up gas.
Oh shit.
So we literally ran out of gas during the point, and then apparently there was some type of protective seal on the gas thing, and we originally thought it was going to be a gas leak. When we were checking underneath to see if it was gas, if it was a gas leak, we would have been fucked. We would have been completely fucked, but thankfully it wasn't. It was just one of those protective things you have to move to put in the gas and everything else. And it was ridiculous from start to end. But I'm glad that the final product ended up looking as well as it did.
Yeah, it looked really well. You definitely take a look at it when you get a chance. And so you viewers as well, because it's really cool. I liked it a lot.
Thank you.
Like I said, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was just like, oh, that's really
That's always the best way
done.
to do it.
Yeah.
It's always the best way.
I love being on the set as much as even though despite what my wife may say, that it drives me nuts, I do love being there. I love being there. I love being on set. It's one of my favorite places to be.
That's cool.
That kind of leads us to one of our last questions for you, and that's, do you want or do you have any plans to be back on a set or doing acting anytime soon?
You know what the funny thing is right now, a lot of transitions in my life. Obviously, I just closed on a house.
That's awesome.
I'm moving. And then, and I think right now too is, I know this is going to sound schmaltzy, but my best friend isn't here right now. And that's somebody that I kind of want by my side when I'm doing some of this stuff. It's almost like, I'm missing a right arm when it comes to this type of thing.
Yeah.
So, so it's definitely something that I don't think it's ever going to leave me, and I think that's something that is going to happen. I just think that in this point in life, I think when the business gets more self-sufficient and the house is more, I need a little bit more stability before I start introducing something new. But never say never.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool. Well, we have one last question for you, and we want to thank you for kind of getting on and taking time with us out for today. So, but we can't ever let a guest go without talking about and discussing at least a little bit your top all-time favorite horror movie.
I actually used to do a question of the podcast where I just make it up. And you're smarter than me. Like you have a consistent question. I would have a question that I would come up. It's a 3-way tie. Between and I think I have there's one poster I don't have. It is a 3-way tie between Cabin in the Woods, Scream, and Reanimator.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good 3-way tie. Now tell us why you like those movies so much.
Well, I mean, Cabin in the Woods should be pretty obvious why I love it so much. Yeah. I remember when I saw that movie, I had 2 emotions. One, I was the detective at the beginning, and 2, and then I became an anarchist. I'm like, Susan said, good, let's get this party started. I'm like, yes, bring down the system. And by the way, legitimate question that I ask everybody about Cabin in the Woods: who the fuck put that button there?
Yeah,
you know what button I'm talking about? There's no even plastic locky thing.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. It's just there.
Yeah, just chilling there. No security. What disgruntled fucking contractor didn't even put a plastic locky thingy on that thing? That thing is just chilling there. It could have been accidentally pushed.
Right, exactly. You could have actually sideswept it.
Exactly, 1,000%. And also too is one of my favorite sound editing moments in horror. Period. When the elevators are moving, that is the best sound editing in any horror movie that I've ever seen. Scream is my love of all things satire. Same thing with Cabin in the Woods. I absolutely love Scream, and also too is despite everyone's people's criticisms about it. It can't happen. The like my favorite line in Scream is literally at the very beginning with Drew Barrymore when she says, "I'm calling the cops," and he's like, "They never get here in time." That has never happened in horror ever. And then Reanimator, because I fucking love it. Like the performances are amazing, and like it's my perfect example of like neutral evil. Like I love his character. Like, and it's a wild. It's my perfect blend of the two types of horrors. There's two types of horrors that you can have. One is the I want everybody to die, blood and mayhem, disgusting awesomeness, like Freddy versus Jason. And then there's like The Shining, like when you have something to say. Reanimator is the perfect blend of both.
Gotcha. Awesome. Good.
I like that. It seems
those
like
are solid.
It seems like you like a lot of horror comedy, and I
do. I do
into comedy.
I do, and my wife gives me shit about it because she likes more dramatic ghost story serial killers, and I'm a little bit more about like let's turn on Evil Dead, or let's turn on Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which I love, and which by the way too has two former Power Rangers in it. Fun fact for you.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yes. Anyway, but yeah, those are my favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah, good choices. Good choices.
Yeah,
I don't think we've had any of those yet.
No.
I don't think we have. I don't think we had any of those.
No, a lot of people have said The Thing.
Yeah, we've gotten that before a few times.
The most interesting one I thought was like someone actually mentioned Fright Night, and I'm like, holy fuck, no one talks about Fright Night.
Yeah.
It's solid. It's a solid movie. Like no one will ever be like, "Why would you choose?" No, it's not a bad answer by any means.
I didn't really think of that one.
Oh, I have a fun one for you guys. Just because I thought of it and everything else. What's your guys' favorite vampire movie?
Oh shit!
Oh, it's easy as shit for me.
Oh, is it okay? Think about mine.
That's one of the easiest questions for me.
What you got?
Oh, Lost Boys.
Oh, okay.
Like not even a question. That's my shit, man.
Dude.
Fair enough. I'll give you. Do you have yours, or you're still deciding?
Yeah, I think I might know. So it's kind of a toss up between two. Like if I'm gonna throw it on, if I'm gonna throw on a vampire movie, it's probably gonna be Lost Boys. But if I really want to dive into like the intricacies of a vampire and what they're going through and brooding emotion and all that other bullshit, Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one in a long time. I'm surprised that you two didn't even mention my top two. Number two, which I was very shocked that it even became number two, was Near Dark.
Okay. Oh shit, Near Dark's good.
Near Dark, and then my absolute favorite by a fucking mile is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's not even some high. Actually, it has one of my favorite movie lines of all time. Some Hayek's amazing, but one of my favorite movie lines is what were they? Psychos. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are. They were vampires.
Yeah. Yeah, my band from back in the day on the first demo we ever cut was the insert from Dusk Till Dawn when Selma Hayek turns and she says, "Welcome to slavery." Like we had that and then ripped into a song.
That's
nice. No thanks. I've been married already once before.
Yeah. Dusk Till Dawn, solid choice.
It's still like there's just so many good lines in there. Now it's time to kill that fucking band. Like in your dreams. Good night, everyone.
John Carpenter's Vampires is an underrated one. They fucking hook them and drag them out and stuff. Just like an overall really good
time. And then it has I have James Woods. It's got James Woods. Oh, John Carpenter. You're such a fucking grouchy old man that just bitches about things all the time.
Yeah. Near Dark is cool, though. I don't hear anybody talk about Near Dark.
Oh, my God. Bill Paxton, though? Like, how could you not love...
Movie.
Oh, my God. How can you not love that fucking scene in the bar? Like, with him. Finger looking good. Like, Bill Paxton's out of his fucking mind in that movie.
He's so good in that one.
I thought he was more out of his mind in in like so many other movies until I watched that movie. I was used to, it's over, man. Game over, man.
Game over. Aliens too, right?
Used to that guy, and then the guy who's trying to fuck Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies. Has that sick mustache. But anyway, I just popped in my head. But hey.
It's cool.
That's a good question.
We don't mind.
That.
Yeah, we don't mind having.
We love talking about that. That's
cool. Genres are always fun to discuss. I'm sorry, guys. I have one more because I'm just curious. I was just talking to my wife about this. Your favorite found footage?
Oh shit!
Favorite found footage.
I got mine.
And this is probably my least favorite category.
There's some good ones out there, though, brother.
Favorite found.
Okay, if you're gonna think about it, I'm gonna answer Cannibal Holocaust.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good.
I like Cannibal Holocaust. I do not like all the things that happen to animals. Fuck that. But I do love that movie. I was so close to buying a shirt that just had the person through the pole. I almost bought it. I did not. But I thought about it.
I don't know why. I just thought about that Bill Burr meme and everything else. Let's see what you got. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, for mine, I just have to go with sentimental. Like I said, I'm not a big found footage fan. Even though we did some found footagey kind of type stuff for a little short. But for me, it's because of things you mentioned. It's going to be Blair Witch. It's because of I love advertising in film. And for me, it's the only found footage that really stands out in my mind because of the advertising aspect. We talk about advertising all the time. I love talking about popcorn buckets and commercials, when they did Smile and they put the actors in events, and that's fucking genius.
The Batman broiled Burger King Whopper. That line from Batman and Robin was only designed for that fucking Burger King commercial. Shall I cancel the pizza, sir? I'll get drive-through.
Yeah, so I love the advertising, and it's it's the only thing. It's not even the film itself; it's everything that accompanied the film, which means that it truly means something to me. The film, I've probably only watched that one time when I saw it in the theater, but it brings back so many good memories and seeing it with my best friend and believing it was true. And I remember where I was when I first even found out about the movie. I was at this record store at the mall that we had, and then we were like, yo, we got to go see this. So, I mean, for me, it's that, because the movie itself was so groundbreaking and so just nothing that I had known was relevant to me, and then with all the other stuff that comes with it. So I'd have to say Blair Witch, even though I don't even own the damn movie, but it does still have a special place for me.
I love it. I'm going to give you I'm going to make a recommendation for you. I'm actually going to make two recommendations for you because there are some good ones. It's mostly, it's like shark movies, mostly bad, but there are a few gems here and there. Obviously, technically, Late Night with the Devil is a found footage movie. Technically. Yeah. But the two that I would call, actual legit ones is one of them is Hell House LLC.
Oh, I've watched that one.
I've watched parts of it, but I keep getting interrupted. I've not finished it.
I would absolutely recommend it. It is great. It is a great found footage movie. And it's fucking creepy. You're like, oh, I'm creeped out. What a great concept too, by the way. Literally a group of people that are entrepreneurs starting a haunted house. And then the house is fucking haunted. That's number one. And then the other one is the houses that October built.
So I have that one too, but I've not watched.
It is
almost positive.
Absolutely worth your time. And then also too is there was a guy. He's probably still on Tubi. We interviewed him. He was from Albania, and he made he kind of did like a Borat thing where he made a documentary about how he's an obsessive guy who was obsessed with Anne Hathaway, especially her character in Catwoman when she played in Batman. And it's all about how he's trying to get her to be in a movie. And he hires a lookalike to be in this movie, but he's dangerously obsessed with her. and like then he becomes obsessed with this other girl. It's super creepy. I was fucking terrified to meet this dude because I'm like, what happens if it's like a situation where he thinks this is legit, and like,
Right.
and I'm like, what are we gonna do? Like, I don't even know. Like, I was newer to interviewing, and like, you don't know what to do or how to handle it. Couldn't have been nicer. And actually, we talked about how he lived through communist Russia, and how his experience and everything else, and how when the Soviet Union fell in '91, how he got to experience actually watching movies for the first time because everything was Russian approved television. Phenomenal interview. Phenomenal. He was could have been nicer. But you know, like, but it was interesting. It was interesting. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'll let you guys sign off, and then I don't. We're at the 2-hour mark here. So
all good. Well, we appreciate you, like we said, taking time with us. We really appreciate it. Loved having conversation with you. So yeah, we're excited to
you're a fun person
hear things that come. So yeah, just give us a shout when things come up. But with that being said,
look out for each other, and good night, cellar dwellers.
Bye-bye.